welcome back to my channel. So I have been gone for a little while. Unfortunately, work has taken a little bit of a priority. F1 has been doing F1 kind of things and it's been a little bit manic, but I am going to try and do a little bit more during the MotoGP summer break. I thought that I might as well start off the summer break with the top 5 things that have really impressed me so far this season, so teams, riders, that kind of thing. I am going to apologise for the lighting because it was beautiful sunshine outside just before I pressed record and all of a sudden it started to throw it down and the sky has gone a beautiful shade of dark grey. So anyway, I think my lighting might be a little bit iffy, but we'll just hope for the best. I may have to change a little bit, but we will see. So anyway, had a little play with my blinds, and between looking like a corpse bride and looking like I am suffering from liver condition, lighting is apparently going to be an issue. So I apologise for that, for probably the dips in, more for one, my hair colour goes from whiter than white to looking like I've been playing with yellow crayons on it. But moving swiftly on to the actual subject at hand. So it has been a really interesting season so far. Between all 3 categories, there have been some unbelievable performances, and from people that you don't really expect, people in teams that you don't really expect. So first up, I'm going to start with the really obvious one. We're going to go straight in with the MotoGP standout that there is, and it has to be Aprilia and their complete and utter comeback. So going into this year, obviously after that podium that Aleix got in Silverstone last year, it did seem that maybe there was a little bit of something there, that maybe they could have a little bit more performance this year. I don't think anyone was actually expecting them to come into this year and be so consistently good. So I got used to, and I think that I speak for a lot of people here, I got used to seeing them as a bit of a back marker. They were struggling. They were always fighting to try and get to the top 10. And Aleix was so consistent with his crashes. I think that he ended up being one year he was the rider that crashed the most, or a couple of years running, I can't remember now. But going into this year, I was definitely expecting them to be midfield, maybe like front of the midfield, top midfield team. I was not expecting them to come into this year and be consistently on the podium. I mean, 5 podiums for Aleix so far this season with 1 win is just phenomenal. And even Maverick as well is consistently getting better. I mean, it's taken him a little while to find his feet because he's struggled a little bit, and I'm glad that we're seeing this side of Maverick where he's happy again, because I'm watching him in Yamaha through last year. The start of last year was so uncomfortable. He just looked so miserable. And you always see a difference in Maverick when he's happy on the bike and he's happy in himself compared to when he's miserable. His performances are just night and day. So to see him finally get a podium, I say finally as if it's been 28 races, but to see him get a podium before we even go into the summer break is just phenomenal. And I'm so happy that there's another team, an unexpected team at that, being thrown into the mix for fighting for the World Championship. So, I mean, we got kind of used to seeing Yamaha and Repsol fighting and Ducati and Repsol fighting, but now we've just kind of we've almost taken Repsol out of the picture and just have someone new, which variety is the spice of life, I guess. I'm looking forward to seeing if they can continue it throughout the rest of the year, if Maverick can continue with the performances that he's putting in, and to see if Aleix can actually get some more wins under his belt, because now that Pecco seems to be picking up on his performance, and whilst Martin has this wrist injury, hand injury, I can't remember which it is, and the infection that he's got 5 weeks to get over this, and he was so good despite that. I would love to see him back fighting at the sharp end, and I would love to see Ducati on however many machines there are fight against Aprilia, fighting against Yamaha, and hopefully we get to throw a little bit of a Honda into the mix once either Paul's completely fit or Mark's back or Alex Otaka. I don't know. You never know with MotoGP. But I really look forward to seeing what happens for the rest of the season with Aprilia, because I think that they will just go from strength to strength, and I don't think they're going to make it easy for Fabio to win this championship. I definitely think that Alesia's going to be nipping at his heels for the rest of the year. So I really look forward to that. Really, really looking forward to seeing that after the summer break. So next up, we have a pretty dominant force that is taking over Moto3, and it is the Aspar duo of Sergio Garcia and Ethan Guevara. So I was expecting them to be strong coming into this year. I can't say that I'm particularly surprised. What has really shocked me was looking back through the races and the results from this year and seeing how often one or both of them have been on the podium. So I had a look through all of the races that we've had so far, which is about 11 races. Doesn't sound that many, but I mean, it's a 20 race calendar, so it's obviously quite a lot. So out of all the races this year, there have been 4 podiums where they have both been on it together. And there has only been one singular race where neither of them were on. Every other race has had an Aspar rider on there. Every single other race. So that's 10 races out of 11 that have had an Aspar rider on the podium. And 4 of those had 2. Just unbelievable stats. Unbelievable. And the thing is that if you ever meet Ethan or Sergio, they are 2 of the nicest boys that there are. They are so lovely. They wouldn't say boo to a goose. They are just genuinely lovely guys. I'll just nearly wipe my mic out there. Apologies. You put a helmet on those boys and put them on a bike, completely different person. Absolute assassins. Just exquisite riding from the pair of them. And they're not frightened. I mean, I'll say this, Sergio's weaving frightens the life out of me. Scares, just terrifies the life out of me. And I wish he would stop that. My only quarrel with the Aspar lot, with the riders. However, other than that, superb, perfection, just beautiful, beautiful riding. I genuinely couldn't call who's going to win this. Ethan is so strong, but Sergio is ruthless. He's absolutely ruthless. It could literally be anyone's game, which is so exciting to me. And I've just realised that I'm doing that annoying thing to myself, that annoying thing. It's why I do my really manic eyes when I get really excited about something. So you can only imagine how animals feel around me because this is also what I do to them. But yes, just I couldn't call it. And I think that's the best thing. I couldn't call who out of them is going to take this title. And that's just the best thing about it. It's just, it's why I love Moto3. I love and hate it, but it's glorious. It's just glorious. So third on my list are some of the Moto3 rookies. It's been quite hard to call who's been the best rookie so far this year. There have been quite a lot of them that have impressed me, but there's also been a few of them that have had some really bad luck. So the likes of Scott Ogden, who's had some pretty dire luck where he had that mechanical issue on the grid a few races ago, and then he was clattered into. He's had a few high sides, he's had some mechanical problems, and it's really unfortunate when that happens because you don't get to see someone's full potential. But some of the others have been seriously impressive despite some inconsistencies, some bad luck, and in the case of one of them, the fact that their age was just an issue. So we've got the likes of, and this is my top 3 so far. Nothing against the rest of them, they have been massively impressive, but this is just the 3 that I really kept an eye on so far, and one of them I haven't really been able to keep much of an eye on. So Diogo Morera, Dani Holgado, and David Munoz. So Morera had such an incredible start to the year. He was just dynamite. I was completely blown away by him at the start of the year. He was so consistently inside the top 10. The unfortunate thing is the last couple of races he has been outside of the top 10. I think he's been 16th the last couple of races. But he has had a bit of bad luck where he's had injuries. He had that injury to his arm or his wrist, which he tried to go out in FP1? An FP. So we tried to go out on Friday sessions and then decided to withdraw because it was just a bit too iffy, which completely understand. I wish more of them would decide that to not just ride through the pain threshold and realise that maybe we should take a step back here, lads. So he has been hugely impressive, and I still don't understand how, in the name of all that is holy, Maverick Vinales called him from the start of the year. Don't know what Maverick had been watching him in, but he was correct. I will never go against the word of Maverick Vinales again. Dani Holgado is another one that has had some pretty dire luck. Like his good friend Fermin Aldeguer in Moto2, he has been a bit of a victim of crashes that haven't been his fault. He has had a couple. I think he's had a couple where himself, but a lot of the time he just gets wiped out by people, poor guy. But he is also another one that's been so consistently inside of the top 10 when he's finished that it's easy to look at him and be like, next year, once you've got this year under your belt, next year you are going to be someone to watch. You are going to be a little weapon on that bike and fighting for the championship, which is great to see because if you ever watched him in the Junior GP, he was just phenomenal, like incredible talent. And watching him last year, you could tell that he was giving me something special. So it's not unfortunate to not see him on the podium now. I mean, it's his rookie year. Like, not everyone needs to be Pedro Acosta. But I think it's definitely a precursor to what's going to come. He is definitely going to be fighting at the sharp end once this year is through. Come into 2023, he'll be there. He'll be on the podium. He'll be fighting for the World Championship. I absolutely 100% guarantee it. Not that I'm a betting person, nor am I very good at betting, but I would put my money on him to be in the top 3 come the summer break 2023. She's just probably jinxed that poor boy now. Last but not least in that little section is David Munoz. So Munoz has So I watched him in Junior GP and Red Bull Rookies, and he's terrifying. Like, he is a terrifying rider. You think Anjou is... What's a diplomatic way of putting this? You think Anjou is aggressive. Munoz is frightening. So I was a little bit wary of him coming into this. I was not expecting him to jump on that bike and just hit the ground running with a podium. 4 races in, and he's 17th in the championship. And he's had 1 DNF, 4 races, 1 DNF, 1 podium, and 17th in the championship. There are no words to really describe that performance, but he's going to be something special in the future. I hope that when it comes to the way that he rides, he does slightly tone down the aggression that he had in Junior GP. We haven't seen it as much. I mean, he obviously punted Masia off last time round. He's had a couple of bits of rubbing with a few people. He's had a few hard moves. I wouldn't call them harsh. I'd call them hard, aggressive moves on a few of the riders. But I don't want to see some of the racing that there was in Junior GP, because it was a little bit frightening. I know there's a few people that watch Junior GP and Red Bull Rookies who are a bit like, I hope this is the right move. I'm a little bit concerned, and understandable. But I think so far he's kept it cleanish. There has definitely not been the level of terror that I felt last year watching him. But time will tell. So 4th on my list is my OG, my favourite, not to be biased or anything, but my absolute OG favourite rider that there is, Marco Bezzecchi. Anyone that follows me on social media or has known me will know that Marco is my OG favourite rider since 2018, when I started actually following his career properly. And watching him grow from strength to strength has been just a pleasure. So watching him get his first podium in Assen really made me tear up, and is doing it again because I'm such a softie. And thinking back to his time in 2019 when he struggled so badly on the Tech 3 machine in Moto2 when he was in his rookie year. And it was really hard to watch. But now I see him with just doing so phenomenally in MotoGP, getting top 10s and top 5s and now a podium. It's just great to watch. And he is such a fab rider. He looks like a rock star. He's such a lovely guy. And he is an amazing rider. I'm so glad that he is part of Rossi's academy, because you definitely see a different side of some of those riders that are in that, and you see such a fun side of the likes of Bez when it comes to him with Mino and Antonelli and just the others. And I think that he comes across as himself rather than some of the more robotic ways that other riders do come across, which is fantastic. And I'm glad that he can build his fan base. This has turned into almost like a PR showcase, hasn't it? Oh well. I love watching Marco grow every single weekend, just improve consistently. Obviously, he's had a few DNFs, he's had some bad crashes, and he's had moments where I know that people have there's always going to be criticism for people that crash. It's the unfortunate thing. But he continues to go out there, he continues to just get better and better and better, and I just love to see it. And I just hope that going into the second half of the year, it just continues and gets better and better and better, and we see more podiums, and hopefully a win. But that's just a selfish desire of mine. So last but not least, we have Augusto Fernandez. So selfishly, I was kind of expecting him to hit the ground running and be on the podium from the off. Alas, it didn't happen, but I mean, just like a Pecco, these things do kind of happen. But he was consistently top 5. He has now gone on to collect 3 wins and a 3rd position. And he's now joint first. Well, he's second, technically, I think it is, in the championship on joint points with Vietti. But I think I like almost the arc of this, that whilst he hadn't been on the podium, he wasn't fighting, well, he was fighting for the win, but he wasn't getting onto the podium. He was just still consistently clocking up these top 5 positions and just squirreling away all these little points that he needed, and has now found that rhythm to be able to get to the front, and not even like just getting to the front and getting a victory. He like stormed off. Don't know why I went American there. Germany was just, it was a different postcode. Just went bye and was gone. It was just, I actually forgot at one point when we were watching other people fighting, genuinely forgot that he was leading, because we hadn't seen him for about 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden they're like, Augusto Fernandez is 8 seconds down the road. And I went, oh yeah, forgot about him. You just enjoy your leisurely Sunday ride there, Augusto. Enjoy yourself, mate. Crack on. But I think it's so funny when that happens. Like, you've gone for a few races where you're just collecting top 5s, you're just collecting your points, and then you get that one win, and it's like, everything's just slotted into place now, it's fine. Just going to tear off into the distance for the next few rounds. Unbelievable. Just unreal. I've got no words to really describe it. It's great to see. It's great to watch. I do feel like I might need to give a little bit of an explanation of why Bezzecchi is not on my list. I wanted to put Bezzecchi on my list, and he has been really, really impressive this year. Unfortunately, I kind of left him off because I feel like he's gone full Fabio 2020, and I hope I'm wrong, but he's kind of, at the minute, he's got that arc of he was doing so well, and now it's suddenly dropped a bit. Like, Fabio was so dominant at the start of 2020 and then just dropped off a cliff. I think did he end 10th in the championship that year whilst everyone was pegging him for world champion? I hope that doesn't happen to Bezzecchi. I hope that the summer break does just revitalise it, because his qualifying performances have just been a bit meh. But I mean, everyone has their weaknesses, everyone has their Achilles heel. But I think that if he got his qualifying cracked a bit more for the second half of the season, then he could probably run away with it. But at the minute, I hope that he does have a resurgence. But that was genuinely the reason that he wasn't on my list. Despite I have a lot of love for Celli. Fortunately, I have a lot more love for the likes of Augusto. So he kind of made my list ahead of him. Not because of favouritism, just genuinely because of how outright impressive some of his victory rides have been. So I will give a special shout out to 3 people/teams that I haven't really mentioned. So first of all, there is Pedro Acosta. I felt really sorry for Pedro coming into this year with having such pressure on his shoulders and then not suddenly taking the win in Qatar and everyone deciding to write him off. I mean, that was so stupid. That was just ridiculous to watch. But I'm glad that he is now getting used to the bike and being a bit more, not consistent, but he's back where he should be. I also wish him a speedy recovery because femur break is just awful. Second up is Fabio Quartararo, the king of consistency. Obviously, there is a little bit of a blip on his copybook from Sunday, but mistakes happen. This is racing. It's great to see him back to being so consistent, because there was in 2020 when he did kind of drop off a cliff in the World Championship and then obviously came back in 2021 to completely dominate. It's really good to see him back in that mentality and just carry it on into another year and not just kind of lose focus because he's world champion. I mean, it does happen. The unfortunate thing is it does happen. Like, people do lose focus when they've got what they class as their main aim. They feel like they're the best and now they're untouchable, but everyone starts from zero at the start of the year again. And last but not least is the Gresini MotoGP team. They have been wild this year, wild to watch. I was definitely not expecting them to come into this year and be taking wins and podiums and pole positions. It's unfortunate that at the minute they are struggling a little bit. Bastianini's not quite where everyone was expecting him to be after being so strong the first few races. But he'll come back. He just needs a little bit of a reset. And Didier has been surprising. I was definitely not expecting him to take pole position at any point this year. I really wasn't. I don't know what I was expecting him to do this year, to be honest. I will hold my hands up and say that I was very much about him coming into this year. But he's not the first Fabio that I have been about coming into MotoGP and being made to eat my words, because I had this exact same issue with Quartararo. Because I said, what are they doing taking Quartararo from Moto2 and putting him on a MotoGP machine? And I was humbled, to say the least. I was humbled by my words. So I do actually like to be proven wrong with things like this, and I'm very glad that Didier is doing so well. I mean, he's had a couple of races. He's had some races where he struggled, but he's had other ones where he's been great to watch and had some pretty good battles. And I think it's just all a case of experience. So we'll see. We'll see how he goes for the rest of the year. So that is all for this week. I'm going to try and do some more videos during the MotoGP summer break. Unfortunately, July is super, super busy for me because we have 4 races in 5 weeks, and in that week off I am actually going on holiday to the Peak District, which I'm really looking forward to. And then literally the week after my race calendar finishes and our summer shutdown comes round, I am going to the British Grand Prix for MotoGP, which I'm really looking forward to. If you are in and around Silverstone for the British Grand Prix, then feel free to hit me up. I will be around. I will also show you my really cool new t-shirt because it's fantastic and I definitely think you all will appreciate it. So this was a present from the man himself, the one and only Dios Milaroz. I will put a link down below that will take you to it. Sun has now come out, so I now look like I'm some kind of urethral angel. Or see-through, one of the two. But anyway, that is all for now. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you're enjoying the video and subscribe to my channel, and drop me a comment on who has been impressive to you so far this season, and any video suggestions that you have for the rest of the year. But for now, bye! Oh, way too many wires. There's a gigantic pigeon outside my window. Oh God, there's 2 of them.